What's up, folks? A little bit late to the game on this, but I just wanted to do like my best baits in 2020. 2020 was an interesting year. It's a year we'll never forget. We had the virus come through and people were out of work and they were on the water. There was a tense amount of pressure out on the public lakes this year. I think everybody didn't have a boat, bought a boat. Fishing licenses were through the roof. It was hard to find products, man. I mean, all the box retailers and even the online stuff was just, everything was out of stock. You just couldn't find anything. Even like standard stuff like Berkeley Power Worms, sold out, everything. So interesting year, but let me talk a little bit about some of the baits that worked out the best for me. And let's start at like early in the year. And something I caught a lot of good fish on this year was this big spinnerbait. I just did a video recently about this. If you haven't watched it, go check it out and you'll know what I'm talking about. But like a 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce white and chartreuse spinnerbait with a size 7 or size 8 Colorado blade. Just a big thumper. You know, a lot of guys gave me their suggestions, that left comments on the video about what I should name this sucker. I got all kinds of cool comments. Big thumper, Thai Mo, slow roller, big old daddy. I don't know, there was a bunch of good names out there. I haven't decided what I'm going to name it yet, but that one put a lot of big fish in the boat, and I was just throwing it on a 7-foot medium heavy. This is a loose custom light. I like to go up to 20-pound fluorocarbon when I'm throwing this big sucker around, 7-to-1 gear ratio. And you know, I caught some key fish in tournaments on other spinnerbaits. This little War Eagle, this 3/8 ounce War Eagle in white and chartreuse with the gold and silver blades was a good one for me. And also another War Eagle bait. I think this is just a sexy shad, but something that's kind of translucent in the clear water. Caught a lot of fish for me this year. So spinnerbait, definitely one of the baits that put fish in the boat for me. As the season wore on and the fish went into more of a pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn type mode, the swim jig, man, I caught a lot of good fish on the swim jig this year. And I started out throwing the moccasin lures jig, and they're no longer available, but I switched over to Cumberland Pro, and man, I am really liking this jig. This is their new limit out compact swim jig. It's got the wire weed guards. But the two colors I threw were this is chartreuse shiner. That's a keeper. Just skip that underneath that piece of wood there, that overhang. And the other one was this midnight shad. So this is basically a black, you know, this is a black and blue version, and this is your white version. Great swim jig, caught a lot of good fish on it. Had some really, really good days on it. But 1/4 ounce if I'm fishing up there shallow, and I like to put a green pumpkin rage crawl on this black and blue colored swim jig. And then with the white, of course, I like to put a little paddle on there. This is just a skinny dipper. The little dipper, actually, Reaction Innovations little dipper. You can put a little 3.3 Kitech. Basically any 3.5 inch swim bait works great on this swim jig. But this thing is awesome. You know, it comes through cover good, and I caught a lot of fish around laydowns and hardwood and even in the grass and stuff. But the swim jig is just, man, it's like I always had the swim jig tied on this year, and I always caught fish on it no matter what conditions. It seemed like I could always throw this, especially this color right here. It seemed like I could always put this in my hand, and if it just covered some water, I could get some bites on it. But if you haven't thrown swim jigs, man, I really, really highly suggest them. So I'm looking forward to when the water warms up, I can start throwing these things around again. Another bait I caught a lot of fish on was a shaky head. Shaky head is just something you can get bites on no matter how tough it is. And I'm always throwing that on a spinning rod, just a 7-foot medium rod. I like 15-pound high vis braid. I'll tie that to about 7 to 8 foot leader of 8-pound fluorocarbon test. And I like this one right here. This is just a little Zoom finesse worm, a watermelon candy. Got a little bit of chartreuse on the tail. I like about a 1/8 to 3/16 ounce ball head, and just simple, you know. This is just something that I've got a ton of confidence. If I'm in an area and I think there's fish there and I can't get them to bite, I will slow down with this, and I can almost always get a bite if I just spend enough time doing it. But it's just a good confidence booster. You know, you'll catch a big fish every once in a while on this, but it catches a lot of just, you know, nice quality fish. Just on those fun days when you're needing to catch some fish. It's a great bait. So if you're not familiar with the shaky head, it's a good one. It caught a lot of fish this year for me. The next technique that put a lot of good fish in the boat for me was punching. Ooh! Would you look at that? Would you just look at that? Would you look at that? Look at that fish, guys. God, that is a freaking toad. Oh my God. Just punching, man. I mean, I have not got any, well, I got one bite punching, but that's kind of what can happen, you know? You go and you go and you go and no bites, and then all of a sudden you just flip it into the right little hole, and good God. That is a solid fish. I don't have my punching rod. It's cold out here. I put the punching rod and the frog rod up in the closet. But 7'11" rod with a 50-pound braid and the beaver. Good fish. Oh yeah, baby. Look at that, guys. What? Where did that come from? Holy crap. That's a little slaunch grass donkey. The beaver was my go-to. I like a 3/0 or a 4/0 straight shank hook, and 1 ounce to 1.25 ounces, 1.5 ounces, depending on how thick the grass is. But man, I had a lot of fun punching. Good one, guys. It's a real good one. That's a real good one. Oh yeah. Look at that, folks. Boom, boom. Beaver head, beaver mouth. Got your booty. That was a heck of a bite. They're biting real soft. That's something I really enjoy. It kind of gets good in the post spawn. If you've got the grass mats up, those fish spawn and they'll move out to the grass mats to feed up, and then it goes through the summer. It's kind of sporadic, but there's really good windows in the post spawn, and then in the fall when the bait starts moving back into the grass, you have several weeks where it's just lights out, and you can just, once you figure out what areas to look for, you can have some really good days. I had a lot of good days punching this year. A couple days where they were just on the secondary points around riprap and stuff, deeper water nearby, and you get to where you could pretty much just kind of start picking out your spots and catching them. But it's a lot of fun, man. Punching is just something that's addictive. If you guys are flippers and pitchers and stuff, man, punching's right up your alley. It's a good way to catch big fish, and it's something different, you know. It gets you in there tight, and you're punching that thing. It seems like every flip, man, is just you're like a little kid in a candy store. It could be that next big bite or that next bite, but punching is something I've really fallen in love with the last 3, 4, 5 years, and a lot of times I spend too much time in the grass doing it when that's not the bite. It is. Flipping this burner crawl. I'm not sure the color. It's some green pumpkin something or another, but 4/0 flipping hook, 1 ounce tungsten weight. The other bait beside the beaver that I threw was this Gambler burner crawl in the Killer G. I watched a lot of Mikey Ball stuff, so couldn't help myself. But this is just a crawl bait, and that's kind of the deal. You know, I won't go too far into the tips and techniques and all that, but they either want that beaver style or they want to crawl. Another technique that I caught a lot of fish on, we caught a lot of fish in tournaments, and I haven't really talked about this. I'm sure you Southern Illinois guys know this, but the top toad, and this is a killer toad. I got to where I don't hardly even throw a frog that much. I just kind of rely on this top toad because it's two things in one. This thing floats. It's got a hollow cavity in there. It floats, so you can stop it on the mats, and when you come out in open water, you can reel it in, and it's a toad. You know, it's got the little bootlegs, and it throws up all kinds of commotion. So you can cover water if you got scattered mats, just scattered grass and stuff. It's not thick and matted up. You can this is just a buzz toad. But if you actually have mats and stuff, you can throw this sucker on top of the mats, and you can actually reel it to the edge of the mats and stop it, and then twitch it. And a lot of times, that's when the magic happens. But white was my go-to color. There's several good colors. Bullfrog. Let's see, black. I mean, you can't go wrong with black. So white and a black, and then some kind of something with orange belly or something. If you guys like throwing toads, check that out. It's a good one. It's a really, really good one. Caught a lot of nice fish on it this year. Had a lot of good days. Another bait that I had a lot of success on this year was, this is the Cumberland Pro Finesse football jig, man. It's like a 3/8 ounce. They have it in 3/8 and a half ounce, and this is a magic crawl. Kind of stumbled across this color. I love it. It's just really small profile. I put that zoom speed crawl on the back of there. Got a lot of bites. It's kind of like that shaky head. It catches the same kind of fish when things are really, really tough. You can just slow down with that little Finesse jig. And they make a pro caster jig. I caught, if you watched any of the Pyramid Lakes that I did, the Pyramid State Park over there, those lakes over there, this pro caster jig was the one I was using. And it's a great jig all around. Comes through cover great. It's got that wire weed guard, which I really like the wire weed guard. You just get a really good hook in them, man. And it's got just enough there to deflect through cover. But that color right there, that black and blue in the pro caster, I think this was a 3/8 ounce. And I put that little zoom speed crawl. I like that contrast. I like the black and the blue with the green pumpkin on there. I got that confidence in my swim jigs and any other kind of jigs. Cumberland Pro makes some good stuff, man. If you guys are looking to try some new jigs, give them a look, man. They're on Tackle Warehouse. But the jig was something I caught a lot of fish on this year too. I mean, that's nothing new. I like fishing the jig. Caught a lot of fish out deep on points. Caught them up shallow, up tight in the holes in the grass. Ledges and drop-offs, just a little bit of everything. You can throw a jig just about anywhere. So this is definitely on one of my top baits for 2020. And I'll show you one more. The underspin. Man, this is a fall killer. Fall and winter killer, but fall underspin is the deal. This is the little Cumberland Pro underspin. 3/8 ounce was the size that I leaned on the most. It's kind of multi-purpose. You can fish it at all different depths. And I like the one that's got the white. It's got that little bit of chartreuse, or is it chartreuse? No, it's a little bit of orange on the throat there. And then that gold blade was the deal for me. And I put a little, most of the time I put a little Kitech on there. This is just like a 4-inch Kitech swing impact. It's not the fat impact. But I would also put like the Little Dipper on there, or just any 3 to 4 inch swim bait. Great running bait. Caught a lot of fish, man. It's got a stout hook on it. This thing works great in schooling fish. And man, it just is something I had tied on all year long, and it paid off. Anytime I was in the summertime, if I was fishing a worm or a jig, and all of a sudden behind the boat some fish would blow up, I just fire this thing out there. And then in the fall, you know, the fish started moving in shallow and getting on those points and stuff, and caught a lot. I had a lot of good days on this. In the wintertime, same thing. You find those bait balls, you can slow roll this thing up underneath the bait balls and catch fish like that. So it's kind of a summer, fall, winter bait, you know. I don't throw it much in the spring because you got so many options in the spring, but good bait, man. Really, really good bait. The underspin is something I started throwing several years ago, and it's just a staple. So that's really the main baits that I threw this year. Honorable mentions on the punch rig was the BFE. This is something new that just came out last year, and the Tilapia Magic was my favorite color, but this is a great little punching bait if you haven't tried it. It's a tube / beaver / hybrid creature bait thing. It's solid, but it's got the ring tube look to it. Good compact presentation. Goes in and out of the grass really, really good. And a baby brush hog and a zoom speed crawl. Woo! That is a toad. Look at the belly on that sucker. Good God. Just throwing a little speed crawl, guys. I mean, little baits get big fish sometimes. That's it, man. She hit that. That is a freaking gangster fish. If you need a bite, put those on. You're gonna get a bite. Texas rig, 1/4 ounce weight, 3/0 Gamakatsu EWG Superline hook with like 15-pound test. You can't go wrong. Medium heavy rod. It catches fish. So hey, that's all I got for you guys. I hope you like my little 2020 throwback video. Let me know what some of your favorite baits are for the year, or were for the year. It's always interesting. People catch fish on so many different baits, you know. My favorite baits may not be your favorite baits, or my most successful baits are probably not your successful baits, or there may be some that are the same, but some different ones in there. So I'm interested in what you guys did. Caught a lot of fish on last year. So as always, subscribe if you have not. Give me a thumbs up if you appreciate the content, and until next time.